Our events are very intentional. Everything we do is for creatives by creatives. That's what we really embrace. This space is for art and art is for everybody. And we want to embrace that with our core mission and value of the nonprofit, as well as the community efforts that the FRIST has done all these years and helped Sold along the way.
That was Christian Sinclair, co-founder of Sold Creative Collective, a Nashville nonprofit creating inclusive spaces for BIPOC creatives. For the last 3 years, Sold has hosted various community events, such as workshops, poetry nights, and block parties, all in an effort to foster engagement through digital and physical spaces. Christian shares that Sold's 3 core pillars are education, collaboration, and access, which they continue to grow through strategic partnerships, such as with the FRIST Art Museum. You'll hear some insights into the marketing strategy behind their efforts as they strive to create a welcoming and inclusive environment for everyone. Christian Sinclair, welcome to Artisanal Insights.
Thank you for having me.
Full disclosure here for everybody listening, this is a proud moment for me because Christian is actually one of my former students. Graduated from MTSU in, when was that now?
Oh my gosh, 2020. I graduated in 2020, so I think I was in your class in 2019.
2019, yeah. It was fall of 19. And that means I'm getting old. Because how has it been 4 years since you graduated? Wow.
Oh,
wow.
Crazy.
And you've been really busy over the last 4 years.
Something like that, yeah.
I've been watching what you've been doing, and you've got some really cool stuff going. So obviously, I want to talk a bit eventually about like your day job, because that's kind of cool too. But like the side thing that you have going right now is really fascinating to me. And so let's start with that stuff first, because that's more fun to talk about. So what exactly is Sold Creative Collective?
Sold Creative Collective. We are a nonprofit here in Nashville. We started, well, I'll get into the birth of how the organization a little later, but we are a nonprofit. We provide spaces for creatives to feel welcome, included, and heard by the means of our 3 main pillars: education, collaboration, and access. So we bring in creatives to host events by the means of workshops, panel discussions. We've had block parties before. A few of our partners and sponsors, are helping us put these events together just for the sake of arts and culture for BIPOC creatives here in Nashville. So we have been an official 501c3 nonprofit since May of this year. So we're just rolling things out as we're going. But we've been a group or creative collective, which is a thing. I think those were like formed like during pandemic. Just people just wanted to gather and do things. So we've been a collective since 2022. We started All People Coffee in East Nashville.
Okay.
I was a former barista there, and now my current co-founder and vice president of the org, we wanted to have a poetry night. Just a random poetry night. We didn't know anything about poetry. I just got to Nashville, just moved here.
Right.
So we were like, let's just do it. So we got on Canva, made a graphic, and typed in Nashville poets and sent the graphic to all the poets we could find. We didn't have a name at the time. We were just like, just come to the coffee shop, enjoy yourselves. We'll have drinks, all the things. And we just want to fill the space with creatives. The night of the poetry came, and there was a line wrapped around the building.
Wow.
Every seat was filled. People were sitting on the floors, balled up. People were waiting outside in the door, looking in the window, trying to get inside of the shop for the 7 poets that we had performing. It turns out that we booked 2 very famous poets in Nashville. One of them is the number 11th poet in the world. Just randomly was like, yeah, I'll come, and just bring my friends and all the things. So from then we took that momentum of just people being celebrated and loved and just that energy of creativeness in the space. And we took that, and I turned to him and was like, we should keep doing this.
Yeah.
So from then on, we've done events every month since 2022. Took a little setback this year just to focus on our building for the nonprofit, getting sponsorships, grants, things like that. Just the lay of the land and groundwork for the nonprofit and the organization. But we've been going for 3 years strong. Just really happy and excited that we have had this opportunity to build this amazing, beautiful thing.
Yeah. No, it's incredible to see. It's funny because, we talk about organic generally when we think about social media, but it feels like this was an organic thing that happened in real life that then also has kind of spilled into digital spaces too. That's really interesting.
Yeah. I mean, we work with amazing people. We work with marketing firms. Two of our people right now work remote. Our marketing director lives in Amsterdam.
Oh, wow.
So she handles all of our website and social media and graphing, things like that. Then we have a social media coordinator who lives in Chicago, and now a new intern. She's been amazing this semester, who helps us out with like all the digital things, video, reels. Like we're just sitting back and letting her do the Gen Z thing.
Right.
Of just creating. No, it's been really great. And I think our biggest reach has been Instagram.
Okay.
Just that engagement, that audience. And, we've built the nonprofit there just with the visuals, photos, videos, all the things. So that's our heavy hitter, just like in that digital realm, trying to get people more engaged and learn more about the nonprofit as opposed to just, clicking, liking, and all the things. So, yeah.
No, that's an important aspect of it too, because what you're trying to do is like bridge, right, between like what's happening on digital and what's happening in real life, and trying to create that connection. Which it's an interesting jumping off point, because right now we talk a lot about the technology and the AI and coming out of COVID and all this kind of stuff. And what you're creating is actually like, it might be digital, have a strong digital component, but it's like it's getting people together like physically, actually, in real life.
And I thought about that the other day, actually, just how privileged we were just like come out of pandemic, because people were wanting to get out of their house and do things.
Yeah.
Again, we had no idea what the poetry market, I would say,
was
in Nashville. But people really just wanted to gather and be seen and just feel that community aspect. So that's our marketing strategy as we're creating these events and this online personality. Just like, this is a community built for you that starts digitally, but we have these physical spaces for you to come and be and exist.
Yeah. And you've hosted a lot of different types of events too. I mean, obviously you started with the poetry, but I saw you've done open mic nights, you've done vinyl listening parties, you've done block parties, all those kinds of things. What's been some of the favorite things that you've done in the short time frame that you've been doing this?
I was asked this a couple of weeks ago. We basically went to the Fresh Art Museum. They're one of our partners for Sold, and I was a former employee there. Every Thursday night in February in 2023, time is escaping me. I think it was 2020 or 2023.
Yeah.
We had a Black History Month showcase. So there was a featured artist, a poet, and then a visual artist at the museum. And so the artists set up their artwork. They would go in and talk about what they're doing, their creative process, and then we would have a visual artist, on display with a poet performing, and then at the end it would be a concert, just some local Nashville artists. And I think that was my favorite series. It was a lot of lifting to do every week.
Yeah.
Just getting production out the way and, just the financial aspects and all the things. But the first has been absolutely amazing, and just like helping us cultivate that creative space that we want to bring into the art scene. But I would say it was my favorite because I had a chance to connect with so many artists and creatives in town that I never thought I would have that connection with. Like one of the artists that we had there, I've been a fan of his work since I was in college. And I never thought I would be, just staring at one of his artwork, helping him load it out of his car, like setting up into the thing. I thought that was really cool. Our events are very intentional. Everything we do is for creatives by creatives. So anyone that wants to be involved or like just put their hands on something or just volunteer, that's what we're all about. That's what we really embrace. And I think that those nights that we had at the Frist really brought out their audience, their core, arts audience, as well as our audience of the BIPOC creatives in the city, just coming together for a good time for free, Like, I think that was the biggest part too. A lot of people hadn't been to the museum before. They didn't think that space was necessarily for them in a sense. So we wanted to break down those walls, break down that barrier of like, this space is for art and art is for everybody. And we want to embrace that with our core mission and value of the nonprofit, as well as the community efforts that the Frist has done all these years and helped Sold along the way. Yeah.
I like that you used the word intentional there, because as I've been reading up on Sold and the way that you've kind of positioned it there, it feels like everything that I've read has been very intentional and that you were very aligned with those three kind of core pillars of education, collaboration, and access. For somebody who hasn't attended one of your events in the past, and maybe this is the first time they've heard about Sold, what does that look like in reality? When somebody walks into one of your events, how are those three pillars kind of displayed?
I love that. So like I said, our all of our events have a meaning or purpose to them with some type of intention. Whether it's a block party, sure, those are fun, but we are carefully choosing the vendors that are there. Some may be mental health vendors, some may be working with local, nonprofits in the city that can bring, resources like that. Education is another one of our pillars. So we are hosting a film workshop in a week from now. We're just inviting directors and producers to talk about their process in film and how they got there. And that's education, people who want to be involved in these things, book readings, things like that. In collaboration, we noticed that a lot of spaces or a lot of creatives are, I don't want to say gatekeeping, but have that sense of, well, if you know, you know. With Sold, we want everyone to know. So if you have an idea for an event, we are purposely helping you build that proposal, finding your venue for you, finding your funding for you, the artists that you want to come in and bring that mission and that vision to life. And now when it comes to like specific events, when you're in the Sold space, I always say, if you come to a Sold event, you're a part of the family now. So we try to make it very warm and welcoming and inclusive as always. Because I have walked into spaces that are for creatives and it just felt a little cold and distant. I try to get up and say a few words like, hey, if you were here by yourself, even though you're an introvert, feel free to like talk to people. I don't want anyone to feel out of the place. I want everyone to just feel welcome and warm and loved and all the things. And we encourage people to, to not sit with your friends. I think that's the biggest thing too. And that's actually a trend now with the whole like dining with strangers or like doing all the things like that. So we've tried to implement like small things like that into our events just so people don't feel left out or alone. We try to cultivate it as a community-based community hub of, this space isn't exclusive by any means. It isn't, some high, class type of thing. Like this is a space for everyone to feel welcome and loved.
Yeah, that's great. So you've had some success, obviously, with your early events. And just this past year, you've applied to be an official nonprofit. As somebody who has gone through that process, that's a lot of work.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's a lot of work to do that. So why? Why go through that process? And what are you hoping to achieve because now that you are a nonprofit?
I love that. So I believe we're with a startup baby nonprofit, we're super baby out here. I believe that we've built the groundwork and that legwork to become a very well-known established nonprofit. So I've always said that I don't want Sold to be exclusively a event organization. I want it to be a resource and a hub for people to go to for job boards or grants, scholarships. I want Sold to be just a beacon of, just a resource for creatives to go to and in need. And I think what better way to do that than to become a nonprofit? That way we can really secure funding, get the grants and scholarships that we need, and also partner with other nonprofits and organizations so that we can see what they're doing and like we can cross-collaborate on different programming workshops as well as like events too in the future. Yeah. So it's always been a dream of mine to have a nonprofit. I just didn't think Sold would be the will be the thing to push me in that direction. I had extensive background in working in nonprofits since I've been in high school, very tapped into the community engagement aspect of things. And so I know what it's like to go through programs in nonprofits and have been doing that all my life, essentially. Yeah. So I really want to give back to creatives and give back to the city with this very small thing that I know it's going to take off eventually with such an amazing team that we have here.
Yeah. So I want to talk a little bit about you and kind of your background a little bit to kind of add that extra context in there. So you mentioned you've done some work with nonprofits in the past, but your professional career was not that. Although you did mention that you worked at the Frist and that actually kind of helped kind of spawn some of this. But how has your like professional career kind of overlapped with what you're trying to build over at Sold?
So the job that makes me money, that pays the bills.
Right.
So I work in pharmaceuticals. I'm a communications manager, a lot of writing, press releases, social media work, things like that. But it's still in that field of work. I have a degree in communications and marketing.
Right.
I would say the Frist is such a pivotal point in my life because it put me in fine arts as well as like community engagement. And they allowed me to have and host events in their space. So I think like tying all those things together like really motivated me to have Soul born essentially, and to elevate it in that sense. After that, I moved on to the health department, communications and marketing coordinator there. So very hands-on in the community, doing a lot of things, creating projects and amplification for the programs that we have in the health department, and then moving on to pharmaceuticals, a whole 180, I know, but it's still within the communications aspect. And I would say having those roles, whether it be a coordinator or a manager, has taught me the importance of organization as well as effective leadership skills. So we manage a team of about 25 people on Sold. And, with my job now, and in my previous jobs, in just having those skills and honing into my writing development, leadership development, and just organizational skills have gone a long way using those as the founder and executive creative director for the nonprofit.
Yeah. Well, and I would have to believe, having been through kind of a similar, like, all over the place career-wise kind of thing, that, like, forcing yourself into these different industries, like, that helps too, because it helps broaden
for sure.
kind of the types of content that you have to create and the ways that your brain has to think differently about things.
Absolutely. I would say, pharmaceuticals is pretty, cut and paste, very, very straightforward marketing approach. Art museum is, just it's art.
It's a 180.
It's a whole 180.
Yeah.
I would say it's that has the branding even to Soul is reflective to, some of the work I've done with the FRIS, and then the community relations aspect of what we're giving back to and providing these programs for people, or just like I said earlier, amplifying programs for people. No, that was not paying homage, but that was, using those skills from the health department to do so. My role now as a communications manager is really teaching me the importance of executive leadership too.
Yeah. So how do you balance all this, right? Because it's the classic side hustle, right? You have the day job, but you have this really incredible, like, building, growing side hustle on the side. Like, as a young professional working in communications, like, how do you balance that? Or do you? That's the other thing.
Therapy in the gym. And lots of coffee. No. Like I said, I have a great team. So the team really helps me with a lot of the decision working. And my co-founder, Jonathan Wynn, he is simply amazing. He keeps me grounded for sure. But the balance, finding time when I can. I'm always coming up with ideas. My phone is my best friend, as well as my notebook. If I have ideas, I will write it down, chat it with him, and we'll try to make it happen. And I would say now my job is very flexible, with my creative endeavors, my side passion projects. Yeah, I honestly don't know how I keep it balanced.
Coffee.
Yeah, coffee. Yeah, lots of coffee. I think I've been doing a lot of things since high school, like I said. I'm able to, like, have that work-life balance for sure. But I don't really see Soul as work. Soul is something I'm super passionate about, something I really love, something I've been wanting to do for a while. And I truly believe this is one of my passion projects and my calling into, that community give back, that nonprofit space, since I've been working with them for so long.
Yeah. Like you said, you're a baby nonprofit. Where are your goals? I know it's, like, a little early to be talking about 2025, but, like,
trust me, we have them.
Yeah, I believe that. But, like, what's the next step here? What are you looking to do in the next, 6 to 12 months?
For sure. So we currently have a residency with All People Coffee, where we started. So every other week, we're having events there from 7 to 9. Last night we had an event called Sounds of Community. So vinyl swapping, buying situation. It was a lot of fun. A lot of people showed up. People really enjoyed that, just talking about music and things that they're really passionate about. And then, like I said earlier, within a week or so, we'll have a panel discussion with some filmmakers, producers, and writers. We'll finish off the residency with a mental health panel at the shop. So then going into the fall, we try to take December off, but now we're probably going to take November and December off just because we're doing a lot.
Yeah.
Going into the next year, I would love to have an after-school program for kids. I really want to get heavily involved in the school systems here. Just having a program for kids to go after school if they want to be a videographer, photographer, a writer, or have no idea what being a creative is. We just want to be in that space and expose them to the arts, just to have another reliable resource for them. And then securing funding, because like I said, we are a baby nonprofit. So we're constantly looking for seed money, donations, grants, things of that nature. And then planning for big picture items and looking for a space too, so we can have all our events in a little office space to run the organization.
Yes, when you said the after school program, I love that. You need space to be able to do those kinds of things.
Yeah. And I think we've been very, very fortunate to have all people there, letting us to have events there, our meetings, whatever we want. Essentially, this is where we started. But yeah, I'd like to have some sort of creative space just where we can house our events.
Yeah, we're speaking to other content creators, right? Mm-hmm. That's who we're talking to here. So how can we support what you are trying to do? How can we best be of service to the work that you are trying to do?
Yeah, I think I liked how you worded earlier the what can you expect to come to an event, Mm-hmm. Just show up, show up with some friends, family, all the things. All of our events are very family friendly, very open. You can support us by following us on Instagram for sure. Mm-hmm. Social media plug.
What's your handle?
So SOULD 615 on Instagram. And then my Instagram is the_C Sinclair. Find us on our page there. We'll be hosting a lot of our events there. We do a few videos, recaps of events that we've had. Yeah, you can find us on PayPal as well. Our donation links, if you want to donate that way, are in our bio. And again, this is very crucial for us having seed money so we can continue to do these amazing events and put on programs for BIPOC creatives here in Nashville.
Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Happy to pass that along.
Yeah.
You want to talk Nashville real quick? Take the Artisanal Insights questionnaire?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. So this one should be easy for you. Who's a local creator or creative that we should all be following other than Sold?
Well, there's this guy named Christian Sinclair. I don't know. Of course, I'm going to plug my co-founder, Jonathan Wynn. His name on Instagram is WayBackWin, 2Ys_Win. He's, like I said, he's a co-founder. He's also an author of a book, Summer Juice, available on Instagram.
Okay.
So I would definitely say my co-founder, Wynn.
What is a hidden gem in Nashville or Middle Tennessee, anywhere here, that we as locals just take for granted?
I really love NoCo. NoCo is an amazing Asian restaurant out east.
Okay.
Very, very good. Yes.
Excellent. Put that on your list, but not when Christian's there. No.
Yeah.
Since we talked about coffee, what's your favorite coffee order in Nashville? And where do you go?
Okay, so I live out in Madison. Okay. I don't put any flavoring in my coffee. It's just a regular iced almond milk latte. If it's not almond milk, then macadamia nut milk. Coffee shop I like to go to is Madtown Cafe out in Madison.
I've heard good things about that.
Really, really good people too.
Yeah,
and great coffee. Yeah.
Awesome. So follow Sold 615.
Yeah, Sold SOULD 615.
Excellent. Christian, thank you so much. It was such a pleasure talking with you again today.
Thank you for having me. This is great.
Thanks for listening. Get involved and stay connected with our creative community at craftcontentnashville.org. You can join our conversations on Instagram, Threads, and LinkedIn. And if you enjoyed this content, please subscribe or follow, rate and review, and, of course, share Artisanal Insights wherever you get your audio content. Now go forth and craft content. We'll talk with you again soon.